are pleased today. We have with us Brandon. And Brandon, you've been associated with the Touch of Understanding actually for some time. And you have a pretty unique position with Roseville City School District. You're the Director of Educational Technology, did you say?
That's correct, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty. You could teach us all something, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you also were recently one of the guest speakers at Leslie Dodoro's retirement party. And it was pretty amazing and very heartfelt, some of the things that you had expressed and shared that evening. So tell us, how did you first get involved with ATOU?
So when I became principal of Stonebridge Elementary School, you kind of get a list of what happens, events, field trips that happen during the school year. And so looking through the list, saw a Touch of Understanding and asked the teachers to tell me more. And it sounded like a great program. It wasn't until I actually got to see it. And as a principal, I always tried to participate with whatever students were doing. And so I got to see students' reactions, what it meant for the teachers, for their students to go through the workshop. And so it was just a great thing. And then started talking to Leslie a little bit, and I'm like, I feel like I've done this before. It seems familiar. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, well, did you go to school in the area? I'm like, went to Franklin Elementary. So we never pinpointed exactly how it worked because I used, but I saw it somehow, when I was a student as well. But really as a principal, got to see it. And then what was great is my own children went to Stonebridge Elementary. And so got to watch my oldest child and then my middle child just went through a workshop a month or so ago, or 2 months ago. So so it's been really fun for all levels, both as a parent, as an administrator, just to see the impact that it has.
Oh my gosh, you've seen it kind of full
everything,
gamut.
yeah.
So what was something that your kids brought home and shared with you that was impactful?
Yeah, I think what's amazing is when I was telling my children, like, oh, I'm going to this retirement dinner, and the fact that my daughter was, she's just 3 or 4 years removed, and she still can remember, the volunteers that she heard from, and it's just amazing that obviously had an impact, the fact that she could recall in detail what she learned that day. And then I told the story of Leslie's retirement, but one of the most impactful things I got to see was we were at the bank recently, and I take my kids to the bank, deposit their money that they earn or whatever, and she's sitting there and she's looking at the braille on there, and she's like, Dad, this is how someone who's blind would know what to do here. And she would have never put that together if she hadn't gone through a Touch of Understanding. And then what was really amazing was, so she's looking at that, and then she just goes outside. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, you can't just go outside. She was trying to figure out if she was in a wheelchair, how would she be able to do that? How would she be able to get in the door? Could she still reach? And so once again, that's all from a Touch of Understanding, because she wouldn't have ever put those together, but and that's why I said the power is that she truly became empathetic to what would that look like, what challenges would be there. And so as a parent, you're just like, that's amazing. My kid is looking through, trying to see what someone else experiences.
Oh, that is huge.
Yeah.
And you can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely amazing. Are there other factors? Are there things that your children maybe now want to get involved in perhaps as a result of that experience?
I think the main, they're just it helps me more understanding. They think about the kids that they interact with at school, and the fact more sensitive and more aware. The powerful thing as a principal, it's always amazing how sometimes kids can be on edge about other kids, or and then after we did at third grade Stonebridge, through is you could see them maybe not being as, I shouldn't just judge because I don't know what that child's going through. I don't know what that student's going through. And so, I appreciate that very much.
Right. We are not in all the schools in our area, our greater area, Northern California, or even the greater Sacramento area. And we sometimes run into situations where either the principals, not so much the teachers if they've experienced our program before, but sometimes the principals that may be new to the area and they don't know so much about the program, or they haven't seen it and may not know of the value of that. If there was a message, because we have a lot of people that view these conversations every week, if there was a message you could share to encourage anyone, administrator or anybody that would be influence them, what would that be?
I'll kind of give a story to that, and then I'll highlight is, so every year as a principal, we would put up, because I want my teachers to have a say in, how is budget going to work, because there is only so much money.
Right.
I'll never forget the year because we put everything on the board, like, hey, this is what we're spending our money on, let's look at it. And I'll never forget, we put that in. One of the teachers said, yeah, a touch of understanding, like, that's the first thing, like, we will for sure do that. And the fact that, there's not a ton of items on there, but out of all the items, the fact that teachers are willing to say, like, we can talk about these other things, but that's not going anywhere. And so I think that shows the kind of power. And I would encourage any administrator, if you can, of course, it sounds great, but if you can experience it, I don't know how anyone could experience it and then be like, yeah, I don't really see how that would fit in my school.
Right.
And so much of what we're doing around education now is we are looking at, of course, there's the academic side, but there's the social, emotional, and behavioral side as well.
Right.
And, a lot of schools are spending a lot of money on a lot of different ways to help kids in that area.
Right.
I can't imagine there's a better way to take the money and impact so many students than what a touch of understanding does for students.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think it, from your perspective, from every angle that you've experienced ATOU and the workshops and how it's impacted your family and your students and the schools that you've been involved in, I mean, that's huge. So thank you for being here to share that today. I would have a quick question for you, though. Have you ever heard one of Nolan's jokes?
I've heard a few of them. Yes, I haven't heard all of them, but I've heard a few.
From the videos.
From the
maybe?
videos. Yeah, I watched a few videos.
Everybody that's our guest always has the pleasure of hearing one of Nolan's jokes. So Nolan, you have a joke today for Brandon?
Yes, I do. How does a barber cut the moon's hair?
I have no idea.
Eclipse it.
That's fantastic.
Well, he's got all these jokes that he has saved up. So
Yeah, it's good.
do you have one to share with him? You don't have to. But
I don't have one.
that's
to
okay.
share. Yeah.
Sometimes some of our guests.
It's hard to compete with his jokes.
I know.
That's a problem.
So one of the other things that we started recently to kind of commemorate our second 25 episodes, it's amazing that we have almost been doing this for a year. So we started last August, and for us, for the first 25, in the second 25, we're doing what we call the paperclip campaign. So Nolan started with the paperclip, and his first guest was Leslie.
Yeah.
And they traded for
A Sharpie.
a Sharpie. And then from a Sharpie, it went to a flower pen. So each week, it kind of grows.
Yeah.
And at the end, the goal is to be able to either sell that, or we will have an opportunity to make some money for whatever the item is for a touch of understanding.
Yeah.
So, and then it just is one extra thing for us to
Sure, it's
have fun
fun.
with. Absolutely. So Nolan, what do you have today to share?
I have
Trade?
a super cool electronic massager.
Nice.
Get you
And it actually
all the cool
works.
Yeah,
gadgets.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Very
You can-
cool.
on your neck and the
Yeah,
tension when you're
yeah.
trying to teach some technology and someone doesn't get it.
That's
It's also
perfect.
ATOU teal too. So
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I like
that's
the
always a plus.
colors. That's good. So I brought for you guys, as an educator, I brought a book. So if you've never read,
Ooh, what is it? What is it?
We're All Wonder. So it's by the same author that wrote Wonder. If you've never read
Nice.
that book.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I love reading with my kids. I love, as a principal, I try to read. So
Oh, very
Awesome.
good. Well,
Well,
thank
I'll
you.
trade you.
All right,
That is
thank
awesome.
you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us today. It is indeed a pleasure having you there as a spokesperson at Leslie's retirement event, and for all the work that you've done to help continue to promote and be an ambassador for A Touch of Understanding. We're so grateful for people like you, Brandon, that are in the community, that you become our heroes because you're out there talking about promoting what we do.
and I appreciate all you guys do as well. So it's
Well,
amazing.
Thank you.